do that.
Jones,
Five.
I'm producing top 10 dopamines in games.
Okay. Huber
That's
Syndrome
live.
special.
That's on the archive now, Huber.
All right. Writing checks.
Oh, it's going down.
Writing checks.
It'll be cashed.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
cashing
gosh.
it. Cashing it hard. Artifact power, making the list.
Man, this Tesla like solar roof and power wall look pretty cool.
Okay, so right now it's cutting between people on the
That's
YouTube
good.
page.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So I'll keep that up. Very simple Patreon posts. Just right up.
Cut.
Good to go.
Cut my stream into pieces.
All right, I'm going to start this. Everybody ready?
Yeah.
I will take your silence as yes.
Yeah.
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 All right. Hello, everyone.
Silence means
Welcome.
yes.
All right. Thank you, Brandon. Hello, everyone, to the October $20 and up Patron Q&A, where we take your questions. You can ask us about anything, fun, silly stuff, behind-the-scenes stuff. It doesn't matter. Our very first question comes in from Michael. He says, "Hey, Easy Allies, you're the best in the business. I sometimes ponder what game has the best cities." Huber's going to like this. I can't decide if it's Final Fantasy IX, correct, or Dragon Quest VIII, correct.
Ooh.
Which do you think? And you can't miss what must maybe the goatee of 2017, Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. I haven't heard of Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom.
Neither have I.
That sounds rad.
I love Dragon Quest VIII.
I'm going with Final Fantasy 9, dude.
I love Dragon Quest VIII strictly because of the journey, the music, the variety. Like the early towns are like the European architecture, and then you go to some ones that are like the Thief Town. I love that. Just like the difference of like jolly little cozy town, aggressive thief town.
Dude, have you ever even played Final Fantasy 9, man?
That has this
The
similar
variety in those towns is like through the roof.
What's the like haunted one?
Trodane, the one we put on your like Huber, like, a long time ago.
Dude, it's a hard question.
Does anybody have any other answers for best cities?
I'd like to give a shout out to Zozo from Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah,
I love just like I love how confused I was when I first got there, because like it was my first like major RPG, and so I'm like used to like get into a town and there's a bunch of nice people, there's a place I can stay, like point me where I can buy a new sword, and Zozo's just like, rain, all doors are locked, go away, imposing music, like when RPGs tell you to go away. I like that socially, not just like this enemy is hard, but like these people don't like you, like you don't belong here.
Certainly easier to program.
Also want to give a shout out to Ding Dong Dell. Nino Cooney.
Yarn of
Ding Dong.
Blackwater hype.
I
The
think
Witcher.
I was just gonna say The Witcher. Taking The Witcher out of my mouth. A lot of games I feel like talk about NPCs actually having a life, and you can go get involved in that. But I feel like it's actually true in The Witcher. Like you get a sense of like the everyday problems people are going through, and you can get involved, and that's interesting in and of itself.
There's also
worse for the main quest.
there's so many places like in The Witcher that you can just walk into houses and stuff like that, where so many cities are just completely walled off, like it's just streets. And one of the things when I was exploring, I found a couple of guys like just right there, like on the edge of the bay, and they sell bottles. You don't need to buy bottles, but that's what they do, is they just like recycle bottles and sell bottles to people. It's pretty fun little detail that you can just walk by and you don't even have to go to that part of town, really. It's crazy.
I'll give a shout out to Clock Tower and Clocktown and Majora's Mask.
Oh yeah.
Clocktown's really good. Excellent. All right, moving on here. Our next question comes from Preston. Unfortunately, Kyle's not here to talk about it. Hey, allies, finish the debate once and for all. What is better, Shrek or The Princess Bride?
Princess Bride, dude. It's like, I hate that Kyle has gotten... Kyle is laughing maniacally right now, winning.
He's out of control.
He's winning. He loves reading your comments. He like I picture like Dr. Claw and Inspector Gadget. Like you just see his hand there, and he's just reading all of these Shrek comments, like ha 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 ha. Princess Bride.
We gotta use that prove it ticket.
Yeah. It's not even close.
Princess Bride is legit my favorite.
But I think that's what's really nice about the Q&A is that like I feel this is a really special tier of patrons that I can speak to directly and just say, please stop. Like don't feed the fire. Like don't message him.
Yeah, you guys fell for it.
It is really weird though that we haven't got a single comment saying that they like Princess Bride. It's weird.
Ian.
Yeah.
Don't do it, Ian.
I don't know how people keep falling for it.
I know.
People always fall for things.
Serious is amazing.
Yeah, it's so many people.
I love it.
We have this beautiful community, and he just abuses it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got a really, really good, special, unique thing going on in this industry, and he's just going to run it right into the ground, right into the sun.
With Shrek. All right, our next question comes in
The ultimate
from Alexander. He says, "Hi, allies. You have Ben, Brad, Brandon, Bloworth, and Bosman. Can we call you a B team?"
B team.
Sure.
Yes.
Batman.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can call us whatever you want. And I like it.
We are kind of B team nowadays, the allies. I like it. I'm proud to be B.
Oh yeah, we're B tier for sure.
Place feels kind of like a B, you know.
You know.
Our next question comes in from Dirtbag Daryl. I like that name.
Great name.
Dirtbag Daryl.
He says, "Hey, allies, I have a question for you all. As a newcomer to the Final Fantasy franchise, I've been looking for a place to start. The only games I've played are 14 and some 7, although I'm very excited for 15 with it being one of my most anticipated games of the year. That said, what would you guys recommend for a first game? I'm open to try any of them, even the ones I've heard more than enough negative things about. Mostly, I'd like to at least get through 1 or 2 of them before I can crack into 15. Also, quick side question, considering the stigma around 13, is it even worth considering? I'm not too interested in the sequels, just the first one. Thanks, allies. Love and respect."
I mean, it's like culture shock.
I'll go with
then you're
9.
gonna play 15 and not know what the hell's going on. You'll be like,
maybe I don't know. I don't know if there's one I can get ready for 15, but I mean, they released 10 in HD, which might be an easier place to start to get used to the direction the series has gone. I kind of wish 12 HD was already out. That would have been like a really good one to start with as well.
Yeah.
I actually think 12 is a bad one to start with.
That's a bad one to start with.
Why? Explain why you think it's a bad one to start with.
Okay, I don't think the story, first of all, is that great in that game. That's like starting that series that's so high up, and you're starting with like one of the lower mid-tier games. First of all,
I don't agree with that either. But
I do. I don't think it's great.
No, a lot of people in
Brad agrees with himself. Everybody.
Yeah, the combat system, a little too close to the MMO. I think you should try something a little further and see where it came from its roots.
Yeah, I'm with that 100%. I think the combat system is just so out there, and there's nothing else in the series that is like it. Like, people call it an MMO, but it's not even really an MMO. So it's just kind of like its own weird thing. And so I agree with Damiani. I think like 10, because it has a nice HD remaster, is a good one to start with. It's got a pretty straightforward battle system. It's pretty easy to figure out how to upgrade dudes. Its story, has like, say what you will about the story, but that story is very Final Fantasy. Like the beats that it takes, I think kind of sets you up for the rest of that series pretty well.
6 and Tactics are also really good.
I agree.
Well, they're really good, but I think
Tactics. But
Tactics is a little too hardcore right off the bat.
You're not going to finish Tactics this year.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
6 is a good one, though.
I think 4 and 6. I think they're hard to start with now because they have some pretty almost mean difficulty spikes in places. Whereas that's why I think something like 9 is a little bit easier to get through, even if it is fairly long still.
Yeah, 7, 8, and 9 are out on Steam, and then I believe I don't know if the Steam versions have it, but the PS4 versions, when they re-released 7, has like that fast forward option. The
PC versions have that too.
Yeah, so they have like easy mode options built into them to kind of make it easier on newcomers, I think. So those might be good versions to start with as well.
9 on PC is gorgeous.
What do they do? They fast forward through combat?
Yeah.
You can
speed it up.
You can fast forward. You can skip turn off random encounters at any point. In battle, you can instantly refill all your HP MP apparently with the button combination if you really want to. So,
if you're not playing a re-release of 9, specifically the Steam version that has this stuff, I would argue that 9, it's despite it being my favorite one, I've had so many people tell me the combat is just way too slow for them, and I totally get it. Like, compared to like 7, 8, 9, and 6, like compared to any of the other Final Fantasies except for maybe 12 in some instances, I think 9 is like the slowest combat in the entire series. And if you're not used to that, it can be really jarring.
Sure.
So
long loading before the battle even starts too.
Yeah.
Great game though.
Cool. Our next question comes in from Rebecca, who has an adorable VV avatar. I really like it. Hey, Ghoulies. I've been getting back into reading after a long stint away and wondered what the last book you read was and if you would recommend it.
Ready Player One, 10 out of 10. Every gamer should read it. Masterpiece.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'd be curious to talk to you about Ready Player One, Huber.
Heck yeah.
If you like fantasy, I recommend The Name of the Wind. I can't remember the sequel to it, but it's from a author named Patrick Rothfuss. I think it's like one of those book franchises that's like it's almost bought. Like it's like Magicians or Game of Thrones. Like you're gonna hear about it in like 2 or 3 years as a movie or a TV show or something. Wise Man's Fear. I think.
Wise Man's Fear.
Third one is like any day now. We'll probably get the third one of that series before we get the 6th Game of Thrones. So Game of Thrones is just heartbreak. Stay away. But that series is very, very good. Very just 2 books, but very dense, very cool world. It's all about music and magic and fun stuff.
And taking place in the past in its own story. I just finished the first 2 books of the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson, which were incredibly long, but really, really cool. I listened to them on audiobook, which I recommend because I think I probably would have petered out if I hadn't been, but they're really cool. They build the really cool stuff. And I also just listened to the audiobook of As You Wish, which is Carrie Ellis's book about the making of Shrek, and how wonderful that was.
That's ironic.
It's an amazing book, though. It has like all the people doing their own voices, pretty much. It's actually about the Princess Bride. Yeah.
My reading habits are pretty awful. I basically grab a book when I'm going on a flight or something right now. But it's been that way for a few years. So I mean, I've had the Outlander series. That's kind of my go-to. As I've been working through those, and so yeah, I'm like halfway, or maybe not even quite halfway through, Written in My Heart's Own Blood. But it's been fun to see them turn that into a TV series.
That's a really intense title.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know I'm cheating here, but I've been reading through the Berserk manga, and it's the best shit I've ever experienced in any medium. So
why
yeah,
is that cheating?
Just read that.
Because it's not like it's not like a novel. But
it's fine.
I think it counts, man.
I think
Berserk,
it counts,
man.
Probably longer than most novels, all told.
I shed tears of blood every time I finish a volume. That's how good it is.
Heart's Own Blood.
Yep. Our next question comes in from Charles. He says, "Hello, allies. Longtime fan of GT Time and loving the Easy Allies podcast. Just wanted to say that my friend and I are on our 4th year this weekend participating in Extra Life. We have added a new recruit and are shooting for almost 5,000 raised between the 3 of us. So my questions are you going to participate in Extra Life this year? And if you are, can you raise even more money than we have?"
I'm actually going to Obsidian for Extra Life in a couple weeks. Yeah. On the 12th, I think. Sunday the 12th. So I'll be gaming there and playing a little GoldenEye and WWF No Mercy. Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. Did they just reach out to you and they were like, "Hey, man, come do this cool thing"?
Yeah, it was one. It's like a Game Trailers fan from back in the day.
Cool.
Mikey Dowling. So we've been in touch for
I think I remember him.
Yeah, we've been in touch for like a while, and he just reached out. Yeah.
Charity's not something we've ever talked about, but it'd be interesting to do. I think
we have yet to really do it. I think we're super deep in trying to get all our stuff done before the end of the year to really like something, but that's definitely a goal of mine for 2017.
Yeah, I helped out. I was on a podcast telethon for Nintendo World Report a couple weeks ago, and they were going for Child's Play, and they hit their goal. I think they did like $4,000 or whatever.
Nice. Respect. Our next question, a fun one, comes in from Kaylee. She asks, once and for all, what are your Hogwarts houses? So I'm just everybody pick one for themselves.
Oh, I did the thing on Pottermore.
I've done all the things.
Yeah.
The test changed. Test changed because before I got one thing and then I retook the test a couple of days ago and then I got a different thing and then I took another test that's like all of the questions and then I got my original thing. So I guess
we also have American houses now.
Oh yeah, I got mine.
A whole nother set for an Ilvermorny. I'm a Slytherin.
You're
Slytherin?
Yeah, baby.
Oh my god!
I always knew.
Yeah. Power hungry.
My Patronus is a Blackbird. My Hogwarts house is Ravenclaw, but maybe Gryffindor, so Gryffindor. My Ilvermorny house is Puckwudgie. My wand is Hazelwood with a unicorn hair core, 12 1/4 inch, and surprisingly swishy flexibility.
I love it.
I haven't taken an official test.
I have no idea.
The Patronus one is really cool.
I am
the Patronus
super,
one is
really fun.
Super not
Let's vote
invested in
Ravenclaw
Harry
for
Potter,
you.
so I have
Ian,
no
if had
idea.
to pick.
What?
Ravenclaw for who? Brandon? Brandon, I think we lost you.
I think we might have-
I lost you guys too. Sorry.
Oh my god.
You said Ravenclaw for who?
For Ian.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes more
definitely.
sense. I'm not brave. I'm just wise.
I would wish I was in Gryffindor. I haven't taken the test though. The Sorting Hat hasn't
Take
fixed
it.
me.
Our
You gotta
next
take it.
question
You gotta know.
comes in from V8 Dave. He says, "Good afternoon, you glowing, magnificent human beings. If you could have any game at all updated for VR, what would you choose? I would pick Alien Isolation. What say you?" Obviously, Knack. I want to get bigger as Knack.
Dude, I am on board with Alien Isolation V8 Dave. That is perfect.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 14, which I think is, but like not really. I don't know how that works.
They had a special demo for it, but they said it was never going to have, or they weren't planning VR support.
Yeah, I would like that.
I'm gonna go ahead and pick the new
Virtual
Doom
reality.
so I can just puke everywhere while I'm playing it.
It's a good pick.
Yeah, I mean that's a weird thing with VR, right? Like a twitchy shooter like Doom, like you move faster than his.
Oh yeah, you're done. You're done.
That doesn't work. Like people can't move that fast. So yeah, it's tricky.
I think Witcher VR would be really cool. I think there's some room there, like riding a roach in VR. Be rad.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because I mean I didn't have the headset on at the time, but that robot platformer thing that Kyle was playing, a lot of people have talked about that being a really great VR experience, and it's not in first person. You're looking down at the world as the camera, and you're still playing in third person. So it really, it makes it hard to say like, okay, what game would I really want to be in VR, and like what world would I want to be in the most, you know? And of course, a lot of the answers end up being things that aren't on PlayStation. So,
Right.
I think like something like. Oh my god! As soon as I started talking, I forgot what this game is called. The one where you just walk around and it's like all naturey and arty. Blood, you reviewed it. Oh my god!
Everybody's Got a Rapture, or
no, the like lo-fi art one.
Proteus.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god! I was like literally holding it in my mind, and then it went away. Also, Bloodborne VR would be sweet.
Yeah, 3D audio is a big thing there too. So maybe even something like Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh yeah.
I want to get you Bloodborne bed sheets, Ian.
I would use them.
I know
There's
you
blood
would.
all over them. Blood vials.
Our next question comes in from King Doug. Another good name. He's got a Monkey Island avatar, it looks like. Name 2 video game characters that you'd like to see join up in a crossover co-op action game. My pick would be Kratos from God of War and Solaire from Dark Souls, who reluctantly join forces to keep the fire lit while Zeus and Gwyn stroke their beards and release their armies. Man, I like this, King Doug, a lot. Thanks for everything, Doug.
Kazuma from Yakuza and Ryo from Shenmue. Let's go.
You can't get better than that answer. I'm sorry. 10 out of 10. Oh my god.
That'd be so epic.
Oh my god.
He like has to go to Kazuma because Kazuma like knows some information about Long D.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
Oh.
And Kazuma treats him like a punk at first. Yeah.
He's got to prove himself.
I want Tom Nook teaming up with Mallow from Twilight Princess,
All right.
where they own a shop and scam everyone who comes.
It's like the real deal baseball where you have to like
Yeah.
buy stuff.
Yeah.
Like $1 a pop. I would like a game just called Ryu, and it's Hayabusa, and I don't know Ryu, the other Ryu's last name.
Dude,
Street Fighter?
Street Fighter.
But,
Yeah, it's just Ryu.
Just Ryu. It'd be cool if both those Ryus got together and kicked some ass. That'd be fun.
These are good. These are good answers.
This is somewhat awkward to say, but Robo from Chrono Trigger and Chibi Robo. Just like
Robo?
yeah, 2 super happy robots.
I like that one.
Yes, I like it.
I think.
I want. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You go.
I want a 2D action platformer with Zero from Mega Man and Genji from Overwatch.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Ben, we were talking about last night. Gray Fox and Genji teaming
Dude!
up.
Fuck Zero, Gray Fox and Genji.
Oh,
Same
Mega Man
thing.
Zero style
Same
game.
thing.
Yep. No, but Gray Fox is cooler.
Mine is actually weirdly similar. I was thinking Alucard from Symphony of the Night with Samus Aran.
Ooh.
And but it's canon to both games, so Alucard is just still alive in the future.
Yes.
So he's like thousands of years old and meets up with Samus, and they have to fight aliens and Dracula's horde.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like canon to both. 2D side scroller, obviously sprite based. That'd be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Our next question comes in from Ahmad, and as soon as I read this, unfortunately, I have to use the restroom real quick, so I'll be right back. But Ahmad asks, what are some of your favorite fan theories, relating to video games?
Damiani.
Yeah, pop fiction.
Damiani.
Star Fox, dude.
Yeah.
Best of all time.
Oh, and Damiani, you didn't get to say your cross-up, so if you want to do that too, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I want Bowser and Ganondorf to team up and beat up all the good guys in Nintendo universe. It's like a brawler where they're just finally they find a lamp and a genie grants them a wish, and it's like you get to live out your dream once. You get
That
to
would be
win.
legendary.
Dude, yes.
It's like the Biff timeline of Back to the Future, or like the casino and everything. It's
Yeah.
just
Some of my favorite
Give me a
memories are 2-on-2 Smash, where I'm Bowser and Brett is Ganondorf in Smash. So good.
The Dream Team.
Oh my god.
It'd be rad to go to familiar, famous 3D environments we've had in Mario games, and they're all destroyed. They're all or just neon signs are up, or it's just fire and lava everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's not like everyone's dead. People have to live there. They have to be I live in Lava Town now.
Can you just picture Ganon grabbing a toadstool and just burning his face off? Oh my god, great.
That would be good.
But,
What's our new question?
Fan theory stuff.
Fan theories.
Oh,
right.
go watch the Star Fox F-Zero pop fiction one.
Yeah.
That was that always bugged me forever.
The Sonic Michael Jackson thing was the craziest pop fiction we ever did. That. I mean, it's not even a theory. That happened, But I remember that even when we were updating that and going through that, I could not believe what I was reading when you read the scripts. I was like, this didn't happen.
Yeah. Do you all remember the theory about God? I always forget the name in Mass Effect 3.
That's what I'm looking at right now. It's the imagination theory.
The enemy who could have prevented And then in the indoctrination theory stuff, I was like, oh my gosh. Everyone came up with crazy theories to try and explain away that bad ending. I was like, the bad ending. So I was like, I read some of the craziest stuff about Mass Effect 3, people trying to fix that ending.
Yeah, it goes on and on. It's craziness, but I love it though because there are definitely certain points where I was sort of convinced. Like it didn't all add up, but it was like, yeah, there's something more to this. Oh my gosh. You know, but it's like, yeah, what was the kid about? Like, that's one of the weirdest things of that game. It's like, why is he seeing the kid? Like, is he just like having like a traumatic reaction to everything that's going on, or what? You know.
I like the wild, crazy fan theory that Destiny has a story.
Zing!
Back. Pew, 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 pew. Destiny does good fun.
Are we ready for the next question?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Very simple. I like this one. Lance asks, "Who is your favorite artist?"
John Williams.
Of any kind?
Just of any kind.
Just of any kind.
Oh my God.
I'm awful at these.
Film composer John Williams.
What?
Nobody beats
Good
him.
Lord.
I'll pick Tolkien.
Right on.
I mean,
wrote a couple languages.
Think about it. Like,
like,
like probably 90% of the fantasy genre is just copying Tolkien.
Yeah, I'm with you.
He was just copying the Middle Ages of Europe, right? Kind of.
In ways, but I mean, the fact that like so much of what came out of his stories was based on creating languages and then creating the cultures out of the languages that he created. It's like, what?
That was badass.
I'm gonna have to go with Yoshitaka Amano. I fucking love his style so much. Everything he's ever done. It's been a huge inspiration to me. Close second to that is actually Kazuma Kaneko, who's worked on the Shin Megami Tensei series and has like the best visual interpretation of demons or spirits that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ayami Kojima, who did like a lot of the old Castlevania art, like Symphony of the Night, Lament of Innocence, all of those.
Oh my God. Especially like Symphony of the Night era, that dude was on fire. Good pick, Brad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we think I mean like art, like drawing art? Like I have a pencil and I make art, like that art.
He just said artist, so I think you can interpret that however.
Yeah. I mean, any way you want.
Yeah.
Shout out to Christopher McQuarrie,
too many.
guy who Ralph McQuarrie. Sorry, Ralph McQuarrie, who created a lot of the original Vader's mask and all that stuff.
Going back to Amano though, like really, it's seeing World of Final Fantasy. Like I know that like a lot of people like that style, and you know Damiani liked that style and talked about it favorably in the review. Man, I cannot stand the like chibi reinterpretation of sprites kind of thing that they do with Final Fantasy here or there. What I want a game that looks like the original Amano drawings. Like
I think you nailed it.
See that really come to life.
Yeah, Blood. I think you nailed it. I think that's one of the reasons why the current status of Final Fantasy frustrates me, because I remember at the time when we did the Final Fantasy Retro, I was like, I can't wait until technology gets to the point where we can see what these characters were supposed to look like. And now, like, we're there, and Final Fantasy's like, yeah, but we're not. That style's old. It's dumb. We're moving on. You know, I'm like, damn. It would be great to have, you know, like, go back and show me like what a red mage was supposed to look like, really, and not like in an MMO, but in like a single player, like, you know, sky's the limit, the best texture, the best everything. You're not limited by like millions of people to be on the server, so we got to dumb everything down. Like, I want to see that so bad.
Have you seen the like very early Chocobo art as well? It's like this just big crazy creature. It doesn't look cute at all.
Yoshitaka. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say there are too many beautiful artists to. I can't decide one. Like visual art, I like a lot of Killian Eng's stuff. He does some cool posters. Tom Waits, obviously. A lot of filmmakers. This question is too hard. I can't choose one.
I found what I was looking for. The artist is Katsuya Terada. They do a lot of fantasy artwork, but they did the artwork for the Nintendo Player's Guide for The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past and Link's Awakening. It's the only place that their art is featured.
Yeah, there's some.
I'm gonna try and do screen share real quick, if you don't mind.
No, go for it.
Yeah. So.
Damiani, next level.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can see this artwork and stuff, but if you've ever seen this Zelda art, like this is.
Oh yeah.
Like this really cool. Like I just loved this art. And I like always wished Zelda would go back to somehow trying to use this as their like art style. It's just really insane. And they obviously do like way more cool fantasy stuff. So yeah, they've done like Final Fantasy stuff as well. So
question for you, Damiani. Is it possible to like find copies of this player book online, or is that not feasible?
It's totally feasible. I think you should start maybe with like eBay.
Okay.
They don't like sell them anymore officially through any means, but yeah, just go to like eBay and type in like a Link to the Past Player's Guide and see if you can find one.
Ben's looking to drop some cash.
That stacks. Our next question comes in from Andrew. He says, "Hey, Alice, do you have any guilty pleasures?"
No guilt whatsoever.
No guilt. Yeah, no guilt.
Play what I want to play.
Guilt free.
Yeah, I don't have any guilty pleasures either.
Watching bad anime.
Ben, you said something to me once about like time, like looking back on something after a lot of time, like makes it seem a little better or something of that sort. Anyway, I've looked back at Never Dead. Like, I know I didn't really enjoy playing it when I played it, but I guess if I had to say I have a guilty pleasure, it would be Never Dead, because I respect the idea that game had. Just didn't execute.
No.
Huber's kicked out.
I think I spent too much time playing Hearthstone. I wish I would have spent less time playing Hearthstone. That's the closest I can get to.
I would say anything kids related. Like, like I've definitely gotten comments from people who are like, "Know your audience, man. Come on. What are you doing playing Infinity? What are you doing playing like all this silly shit?"
Fuck those people.
Yeah.
But there's a little twinge there of just like while I'm playing it, where I'm like, I realize this is silly, but I'm just very much enjoying myself.
Yeah,
as much as I would be playing a platform,
Oh, I actually have one. Did you guys ever play that game Wet?
No.
Dude, Wet is
with Eliza
bad
Dushku?
and awesome.
Yeah.
Bethesda published Wet.
Guilty pleasure there.
Yeah.
Wet.
Where like the screen turns red and you're like fucking enraged and shit.
Yeah.
The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past Player's Guide, $46.99.
Really?
Purchased.
Don't act like you. I had that thing.
I probably won't purchase actually.
I had that thing right when it came out because I kind of got on the ground floor with when Nintendo started really doing Player's Guide in those styles. Like they had some early ones on the NES, but then right about the time the Super Nintendo was coming out, like it just became a thing. Like they just started doing Player's Guides, and so the first one they published, I think, is actually part of how I got my mom to I convinced my mom to get me Nintendo Power, because they had this thing where it's like you get Nintendo Power and you get like 4 Player's Guides as they came out. So they had like the NES Game Atlas, and I think there was a Game Boy one and a Super Nintendo one. And I don't remember if Zelda was the 4th one, if there was another one in there, but yeah, it was pretty sweet getting those because it was, thicker paper and covers and everything, and a lot of art and maps and really great stuff.
Sick. Dude, Nintendo.
Awesome.
Miss them.
Make the switch.
Miss them.
Ibrahim asks, in my opinion, video games can translate well into a TV show instead of a movie. What video game series do you think would be best suited for an HBO series, and why?
Red Dead.
Red Dead would fit, yeah.
Persona 4 for the Persona games.
Dude, if I could watch anime on HBO, next level shit. Right there.
I mean, like, I think like it'd be a cool live action. Live action.
The thing I'd be worried about with the live action is they would like try too hard to adopt the style, and it would be like a live action anime interpretation, which most of those are bad. I don't know. I'd be worried.
I would appreciate actually a good Max Payne story. That'd be nice. Like a Max Payne like narrative I'm into, not just because I'm like shooting people in the face with a shotgun or like it's cool, but like I'm actually like I'm into these characters.
I actually think Divinity Original Sin would work as an HBO series very, very well.
I'd love a Deus Ex movie.
This is a show we're talking about, Huber.
Oh, a show? Yeah, a show. I mean, a show.
Old Deus Ex or newer?
Newer, like Jensen prequel.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think Fallout would be good because you wouldn't be that tied into like characters and stuff so much.
Yeah.
Like you could really explore like a lot of that world, and there are a lot of different locations in all the different games.
I would love to see an HBO interpretation of the city New Vegas and look.
BioShock.
Bugs and all.
Oh, BioShock.
BioShock would be interesting. BioShock Infinite or BioShock? BioShock.
The original BioShock.
Okay.
First one.
Sure.
It's all the same, baby.
If that was a prequel, if it was like before everything went bad, so you're like actually seeing the city and like what it was like.
It'd be so cool.
Down. Yeah.
How did people actually use bees in their hands?
Yeah, what
Right?
was the intended use?
Yeah, Ken. Tell us, Ken Levine.
I mean,
Didn't Ken write
I'd love to
stuff?
see
Hasn't he written,
Bloodborne.
like movies or?
maybe.
Oh, sorry.
I think The Last of Us could be a good HBO series. What do you think?
I mean,
Hubert?
Yeah, they're trying to make it a movie, right? I keep hearing rumblings of that.
they already
Uncharted-
did.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely a lot of movies that remind me of The Last of Us, but I think it would be definitely a cool show for sure.
Okay. Our next question comes in from Brian. He says, "Hey guys, wanted to thank you for the Battlefield 1 hype on Frame Trap. I was originally going to hold off as Overwatch has been my FPS of choice, but I dove in with some trading credit and boy, that's some good shooting, huh? Yes, it is. Anyway, Halloween is fast approaching. Have any of you had a chance to watch some horror movies recently?"
So many.
No.
20 movies.
You've watched 20 horror movies recently?
Yep.
Yeah, he's had a Twitter update.
Yep. All month, baby.
I think I talked to Huber about this. I started to try to rewatch all the Final Destination movies because they started to pop up on all the streaming services.
I like John Carpenter.
Yeah,
I like John Carpenter.
I'm a John Carpenter fan.
One of the best horror movie endings ever. The ending of The Thing is just delectable.
It's so good.
so great.
I read a
It's
thing.
such like
I read a thing recently that said they put a very subtle eye light, like they put a light on someone's eyes, so it reflects a little bit, makes their eyes look a little glassier whenever they're the thing. So now I want to watch it again to like look for that, because they wanted some way to tell a little bit, but not anything super obvious.
Interesting.
Also, the disc fell out of this.
There's a new show on Sci-Fi called Channel Zero.
Whoa, what's that?
It is amazing and scary as hell. So I recommend that.
I gotta watch that.
rewatched Hellraiser. It's on Netflix right now.
Classic.
Hadn't seen that in a while. Boy, the makeup and effects department on that movie was working really, really hard. Like that.
Oh yeah.
They don't make Hellraisers anymore, man. Like I mean, they might make a film in a franchise, but nothing like you can tell like how much work. The creation of some of those monsters stage by stage kind of reminds me of like American Werewolf in London, where it's like we had to build 20 different werewolves to show you turning into this werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
I also watched. Sometimes I'll put movies on in the background when I'm editing. I'll just turn the volume down and just have like some dumb like Hard Target. Just put that on in the background while I'm cutting.
Hard Target.
This review.
Nice.
But
deep cut.
Those kind of movies, it's like I don't need to, it's not Shawshank or something. It's like, no, I could just look over and be like, right, whatever, and then go back to editing. But I put on Hush, which I hadn't seen in a long time.
Robo enthusiast.
Great to watch Hush with no volume. To watch Hush with just subtitles and kind of check back in and every now and then and see her like. If you haven't seen it, it's just about a deaf woman who's terrorized by a sociopath.
Oh my god!
So a lot of it is her in the room, not having any idea he's right behind her or doing things, and messed up movie.
Hellraiser is one of those funny movies where, when you think, for me anyway, when you think back to it, you remember like the last 5 minutes, but you think the whole movie is like that. Like Home Alone, you're like, yeah, that trap sequence is like most of the movie, but really it's like 6 minutes long. Hellraiser is a very weird story that is. I watched it last Halloween, and it's like, oh yeah, there's like mostly just this weird family stuff, right?
Yeah,
and this dude,
the wife, basically, this woman is the real like villain of that movie. Like, Pinhead's just doing his job, man. Pinhead's just like, look, this is the contract, all right.
Yeah, Pinhead's like kind of not. It's weird because the Cenobites are almost like not that bad. They're like, you called us here. This is your we're just doing the thing you told us to do.
I think it was the Boba Fett situation where like after that movie they were like, wow, they really like that Boba Fett guy, huh? Like, yeah, you should probably put him in the next movie or do more stuff with him. Like, okay,
unkill him off.
But yeah,
just want to yell The Wailing one more time. Everyone should watch it.
Yeah, I got to do
Halloween time. It's time. The Wailing. 70 people have tweeted me this year. The only complaint, one person was like, I didn't really get it. Everyone else unanimously is like, yes. So watch it.
Seems too scree.
No, you'll be fine. I promise.
I don't believe you.
I promise you'll be fine. Ian, you will love it.
All right. Give it a shot.
Sorry, I was just looking at my game shelf and going back to the make it into a TV series thing. I think Metro is really good too.
Dude, Metro show.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting is Metro, like, it has these monsters that in a way feel like they don't always really need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Like that world of like where people are at and how humans interact with each other is super interesting on its own.
Yeah.
And sometimes the monsters, I'm just like, well, why?
Kind of like the zombies in Walking Dead. Similar kind of vibe. You know?
Totally true.
They're kind of just like background.
Fodder.
Because everyone is so like, if you are able to survive now, it means that they are no threat.
I think this is actually how they use zombies now. Like, okay, we have this story. It covers this many minutes. Fill the rest with zombies.
Yeah.
There's actually a one of the trades. It was in an issue, obviously, as well. But like one of the specific trades of Walking Dead ends with Rick losing it and just yelling at the whole crew and basically saying like we're the Walking Dead. Like they're not the Walking Dead. I don't know if it was Kirkman saying it. I don't know if he was actually saying like this is where I got this title from. It was basically saying like we'll never get our society back. Like we don't know how to be humans anymore because we can't live in the world that created us. And so we're actually just walking around waiting to die. Like we're the Walking Dead.
I mean, I think that was made abundantly clear, like from the beginning of the series for me, and then it got into kind of a Game of Thrones problem where it's like, right, if life is pointless, why would I watch the show?
Yeah. Arya's gonna fix everything.
Right.
And Arya we trust.
Our next question comes in from Thim. He says, I like this one a lot. He says, hey, Allies, as someone who's backed various Kickstarter projects over the years, I would like to hear about the Allies experience with Kickstarter and the projects that you have backed. What were projects that you were absolutely happy with in the end? Mine, Divinity, Original Sin, Pillars of Eternity, hardcovers for various webcomics, and what left you with a sour taste, such as the Ouya, Goddess, and Mighty Number 9. Are there any current projects you have backed that are not finished and have hopes for? Mine, Star Citizen, Kingdom Come, Deliverance, Yooka-Laylee, Bloodstained, and Shenmue 3.
Kingdom Come, Deliverance, and Shenmue 3 for me.
Untold Story seems real rough right now. But we got Shovel Knight. So
Shovel Knight.
So look at my history. Can you look at your history on?
You can, and you have to log in.
Yeah. Ghost Court is the one I'm hoping for now. It's a bully pulpit game. The people who made Fiasco, and that's kickstarting right now. Also, one of our allies, Patron, Joetown, is running a Kickstarter for his graphic novel right now, with an artist called Tuna or something like that. Looks pretty cool.
Nice.
Good spirits. Pray for the gods. I hope that's good.
Pray for the gods.
I haven't backed any games. I backed a single book. It was called The Untold History of Japanese Game Developers. And it was like
awesome.
A bunch of interviews with Japanese developers that this guy from Great Britain went over and scored these interviews with these really old game developers and stuff. So you got like these anecdotal stories about these games and stuff. There's actually some good Dragon Quest stuff in there.
Nice.
Not the biggest Dragon Quest fan. It was really cool to see some of the stuff. And I was like really deep into pop fiction stuff at the time. So I was like, man, there's going to be like so much cool stuff in here. The only thing I'll say, like in terms of Kickstarter experiences, I know like everyone likes to talk about games and when they don't come out. This one kind of had a weird twist at the end. Some of the translators they hired like took them to court, and a bunch of the updates towards the end just came about like legal battle updates, and it got so distracting and annoying that I kind of felt a little bad about backing it in the end because I didn't really like either side or whatever. But the book turned out like pretty good, but just there's be wary that there could be like shady stuff going on, or things won't be as promised in the Kickstarter.
Yeah, looking through mine, it's overwhelmingly albums and stuff from people that I know, local artists and that kind of thing. The only game I backed, I actually feel kind of guilty about because it's really cool. It's well, at least the idea of it was really cool, but the problem is I never actually got around to playing it. So it's like there's Armacrog. It's the claymation point and click adventure.
Oh yeah.
So, but it sounded like when reviews came around, it got kind of middling responses in terms of the actual gameplay. But like I said, I haven't actually played it, so I don't know what my own opinion is.
Yeah, I've got like 4 games in here that are out that I just never played that I backed.
I've had really great experiences with games that were backed though, like Banner Saga.
Yeah.
Banner Saga.
Man. I was looking through the unsuccessful Kickstarters. There's this one called Nevermore by Stuart Gordon, who directed Reanimator, and it was based on a one-man play that Jeffrey Combs, the star of Reanimator, did in LA. He would do it once a month, and if he still does it, we should go. Huber, you would love it too.
Dude, I'm so in.
He's playing Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh my goodness!
And he's just by himself, and it's amazing. And they were trying to do a movie, and apparently I backed it for $60. I must have been really excited about this, but then it
sounds awesome.
It didn't fund, so it never happened. Oh man, it's so good.
When Kickstarter first came out, I went there and I put $1 into every single game I could find with the word zombie in the title. I was just like, yes, because they would because when I first discovered Kickstarter, there were a lot of really awesome ideas. And this was before DayZ. This was before there were a lot of really cool State of Decay. We want to make persistent survival zombie environments. And I was like, great. If I just want updates, I just want to know when this happens. I want the email from you for the beta or the alpha or whatever.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like this is going to happen, but for $1, it's nice to join a mailing list and
that's cool.
Basically just be informed. But so every now and then I'll get email 142 from the dead remain. Or I'm like, yeah, good luck, guys.
Yeah, that is a hard thing.
Sorry.
That is a hard thing to try to keep tabs on in terms of how many updates and things like that. That's why I'm always so hesitant about putting everything on Patreon. But then I get those people that are like, we didn't know this happened because you didn't put it on Patreon. I'm like, I don't want to spam everybody's inbox, but I don't know what the right amount of that is,
I hear from a lot of people they want our group stream on as a Patreon post. It's okay.
Yeah,
like
see,
not all of
that,
our streams, but just specifically the group stream.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to do that, but
yeah, fine line.
Our next question comes from Paul. He says, "Hey, allies, I'm a longtime pen and paper role player. I was wondering how long you guys have been old school RPers. Who introduced you to RPing? Was it at game trailers? Also, aside from D&D and Fiasco, what other RPGs do you play? Legends of the Five Rings, any World of Darkness, new or old, any Fate games? Love and respect, Paul Rogers."
Is Vampire the Masquerade World of Darkness?
Yes.
That is? Then yes, the Masquerade. That was my first tabletop experience.
Me
I hadn't
too.
done D&D until like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I also started with Vampire the Masquerade. We played that when I was younger in high school, and I loved it, and I got really into that. And I tried to get into Mage as well. I've got the books for that, but I don't know, it just didn't take. And then, yeah, D&D I got into when I moved to LA, and I love it. And I've played all kinds of weird other tabletop ones, like one-offs and stuff as well. They're pretty cool. I haven't played any Fate games.
I started playing D&D in middle school. My best friend introduced it to me, and his older brother, who was in high school, who seemed like a god at the time, DM for us. It was really awesome. I've been pretty faithful to D&D. I have played Pathfinder a bit as well, which is also quite a bit of fun. Very similar in a lot of ways. Yeah. I want to play Shadowrun really badly. That's one I want to get into.
Yeah, Shadowrun looks sick.
Damiani, never done tabletop. Nothing to say. I was always curious.
Damiani, you don't like tabletop,
That's
right?
really a Damiani thing.
More like I haven't really done it. The last type of board thing I ever did, board game, was PAX South last January. January 2015, not just January 2016. Was Settlers of Catan. And I know it's not like RP, but like that was like the last board type game experience I had was with that, and that wasn't too bad. But
yeah,
I'd
say that because Damiani, you're a good problem solver, practical problem solver. So I'd be really interested.
Robo Jones is
Robo Jones.
Uh oh,
Yeah.
you lose him again?
Yeah, I don't know why that happens. Like once every 30 minutes, I bail. Sorry. All of you freeze up, and I'm just like, where'd you go? Yeah.
Our next question comes from Stuart. He says, "Hi, allies. For the Pokemon fans of the group, I was just wondering how you normally go about choosing your starter Pokemon. Personally, I normally look at the final evolutions and pick the coolest looking one. However, watching Brandon plays Pokemon, I kind of want to go in as blind as possible this time around."
I've only ever picked one star Pokemon in my life, so I'll bet he was a dragon who spit fire. End of story. I loved it.
I've never played any of them.
Listen, I'm going to break it down really easy for everybody. Squirtle is the best Pokemon there is. Anything that comes close to resembling Squirtle wins. So it's not a hard thing. Oh,
Dude
I'm curious.
Cannons on his back.
Dude gets fucking okay, so he starts out as this cute little thing where you want to take everywhere with you, right? So you're like, Squirtle, I want you to be my friend through everybody else in my life. It's just Squirtle's all I need. Then he goes through that awkward phase as Wartortle, and you're like, oh man, you're not nearly as cool, but I was there once. I went through puberty too. It was hard. We'll all get through it together. He comes out the other side as a turtle with military cannons, military-grade cannons protruding out of his back.
And he's like all ripped and stuff now too.
Yeah.
He's like,
Oh,
just
He
blasting
rewards you
water.
for sticking with him.
Yeah.
Curious, who are you guys picking for Sun and Moon?
I don't know the starters. I'll look them up really quick.
I would have picked the owl if I was gonna play.
Dude, I'm Brad, you and I, Rowlet. I was gonna pick Litten, but then he turns into a lame like wrestling thing.
Yeah,
That's
the owl. The owl's the best.
The owl's the best.
It's got like a leaf bow tie.
Dude,
Mhm.
Hubert, look, guys, look at Rowlet's final evolution right now. It's sick. It's like a ninja thing. Oh, it's so good. Damiani, how did you screen share?
There's a button on the left when you mouse over your screen. There's a green screen with an arrow pointing to the right. It says screen share. There's like a blue chat icon. Then there's a
Aerolith?
So do you guys see that?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Dude, look at this. Brandon,
spoilers.
look at this
I
ranger.
see it. I see
right
it.
now.
That's amazing.
I did not think about spoilers. I'm sorry. I'll stop.
Yeah. That's the owl, though, right?
That's the owl. Yeah, Rowlet.
I think if people were scared of spoilers, they would have bailed entirely on the Q&A. They'd be like, "Well, good Q&A, guys. Bye."
Haldini Rowlet Final Evolution. That was just,
Haldini!
dude,
Man,
too cool.
I just want to see the new Mr. Mime in action, and I want
That
to
is
see
a top
Kyle's
tier.
reaction to it.
That's a top tier Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of those are fake, but
What I shared was fake?
no, but some of the like Haldini, I don't think. It's
Okay.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
This one's called Falcoon. Is this? Oh, it's a concept. Okay, DeviantArt. We're going to DeviantArt. We got.
Get out, man! Get out!
Or fill out.
Sorry, I kind of derailed the whole thing there. But like, anybody else have any thoughts for choosing starter Pokemon?
I used to just pick water all the time when I was younger. I was very fond of that. Then I just kind of grew out of it. And Pokemon.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know that I had any rhyme or reason for it. But yeah, I think with when I did Silver, I had Cyndaquil. And then I can't remember when I did Sapphire whether I had Mudkip or Torchic.
Mudkip.
I think I had Mudkip.
Dude, Mudkip is awesome. Okay, can we make a pact right now? Can we make a blood pact right now? When Pokemon Sun and Moon comes out, every Easy Allies member is going to go hard on it. Like, everyone. There's no excuses. No, I don't have time for this.
No.
Probably not. Maybe after, like maybe in December when I go for Christmas break or something. But I still have Dragon Quest 7, man.
Yep.
You guys suck.
I got you,
Ben, you know I'm in. Ben, you know I'm
Ben.
in.
You know I'm in.
I know. Okay, so
Baby.
Huber, I
Maybe.
wasn't. Huber, maybe?
No, I'm in.
No, I'm maybe.
Okay. Come on, blood. Our next
Dude.
question is from. Sorry, go ahead, Brett.
I was gonna say all my energy's gone for 15. I'm
Okay.
gonna waste my breath on Pokemon.
Our next question comes from Captain Fancy Pants. He says, "Heyo, EZA. Thanks for your hard work. You guys really bring out a lot of humor and jolliness, and I really want to say how much we all appreciate you guys. As for a question, my wife and I have been kicking around the idea of starting up D&D, but we're relatively noobish to the whole scene. What would you recommend a couple of D&D versions get prepared to start out? My wife wants to say thanks to Damiani for raising a silly Lala ass in Weeping City tonight twice. She was so flustered by
that's who
Avatar
that
Korra.
was. Okay. Sorry, real quick to explain that. I ran a daily thing because I was trying to do one of my dailies for that takes about 20 minutes and 14. And someone I was playing with recognized me. And they're like, hey, love and respect EZA. And I was like, oh, cool. But I was on my Ultros character, not my Gilgamesh. So I was like, huh. And then they go, oh, my husband's a huge fan of EZA and stuff. And we had a cool little conversation while we were playing through this dungeon and fighting Ozma from Final Fantasy IX and stuff. So yeah, awesome. That's who that was. Okay, that's cool to know who that was. And that's awesome.
As far as getting started into D&D, this is my approach. I think a lot of people get really worried about the rules, and there is a basic amount that you have to understand. You need to know that you roll a d20 to attack. You need to know what a perception check is. You need to know, the basics of your class, like if you're a rogue, how to sneak and open lockpicks and stuff. But I don't think you need to go beyond that. You don't necessarily need to know how to grapple things when you first start. I think if reading an entire book, like the Player's Handbook, intimidates you, that's fine. That's not the spirit of D&D. The spirit of D&D is getting together with friends and going on an adventure and telling stories and interacting and telling jokes and having fun. It's just improv. It's just a formalized way of doing improv. And if you make mistakes or you mess up, you're not playing against a video game. It's not going to punish you. The DM might poke and prod you here and there, but the point is to have fun and be empowered and to be somebody else. And just do that. Even if you don't read the rules at all and you're we're going to play D&D and roll dice and make everything up as we go, if you were the kind of kid that played board games and you just didn't read the instruction manual or didn't want to and just made up your own games, you're perfect for D&D. That's what D&D is all about, in my opinion.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about making mistakes. Look at our group. We make mistakes all the time. Still Like I wouldn't worry about the RP. Like Mike said, he was from China. Like anything goes. Don't worry about it.
And it destroyed Ben inside.
No, okay. I feel like I say this every time. Like when
We're just kidding.
when the group goes in a different direction or like makes shit up, I love that. That's what I live for. That's what I want.
Yeah, as long as your
would-
DM is amazing, like Ben.
Yeah, Ben is incredible.
Yeah.
I would strongly
Thanks, guys.
recommend 5th edition though. I've played 4th edition is not really that great. It's very numbers
trash.
heavy, very rules heavy.
It's the
5e
last
is-
act of D&D.
Yeah, 5e is really good. I heard that. Yeah, I mean, kind of to springboard off what Ben was saying, it's sort of like acting teachers always used to tell us, like, learn the rules and then forget them.
Yeah.
You know, like, I find it liberating to really know the game really well so that you have that framework, but then you can just kind of go from there and ignore it if you want to. So it's all about what you find interesting. So if learning the rules and reading the amazing player's handbook for 5e is fun to you, then that's going to be fun.
And you bring up two really, really good points. 5th edition, I think, in my opinion, will be remembered as like maybe the greatest edition of D&D. I think the classes are a little ridiculous in some instances, but it's just like the easiest to understand, and I think it explains itself better than the other editions have. Totally right on that. The other thing is, like, if reading the rules is fun to you and you want to be a rule sticker, just like Ian said, like, go for it. I think it's important that the group is on the same page, though. Like, it's no fun if one player feels like they invested all this time in learning the rules and then no one else did, and so that player feels like they wasted their time or they're not playing the right game. I'm not speaking from personal experience here. I'm just
Right.
I mean, we've had that situation.
we have had that situation, but like I'm totally cool with just playing along as it goes. But not everyone in your situation might be like that. So talk to each other. You know, like figure out how deep you want to go at first, and make sure everyone is comfortable before you can move forward. Brandon, sorry, go ahead.
What do you think about the board games, the D&D board games? Have you tried those?
No, I haven't.
I've played a couple of them.
Are they good?
They're
They're
fun.
fun. It's a very simple. We like. There's no roll. You don't roll a character. The character's rolled for you. You know, like when you get to the edge of a board, you grab a new piece and attach it. So you're basically building the castle as you go through it, or the environment. The only one I played was Ravenloft, but it's just kind of fun. If you're very much not into D&D and you're like, that sounds like too much work, and you can't get a DM, it might be fun to try, not as an alternative, but just try that. And then if you really don't like that, then you really won't like D&D when you actually get into it. But it's a fun team building game, and it's a nice little tiny taste of what the possibilities are in D&D.
Dude, Brandon,
The
I
character
play
stuff,
the board game now.
the improv isn't there. It's just the mechanics.
Yeah,
it's a quick and dirty
it's
way to get into the mechanics of D&D.
Straight up
But-
a board game, yeah.
Do you make a
One of the
character
best
for
things
the board
about
game that you go
tabletop
through?
is
No.
They come with characters. With stats.
and
I
you
like-
can only level
I
up
really
to
like-
2.
Betrayal on the House on the Hill is, it's less D&D, but it's similar where you're building out the house.
And it looked like you were gonna ask me something, Ben, before I jumped in.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, you are a frequent role player yourself, so I don't know if you had any advice for new players.
Not at all. But just when the first thing I really dove into was Vampire the Masquerade, and some of my favorite moments in my first couple sessions were the failures. We're walking up to a character and trying to lie to that character and like mystique them, and be like, that's not what happened, and totally failing, and then finding myself staring at this person like a security guard and being like, like, how do I get out of this now? How do I explain that I just went up to him and got really close to him and like clearly tried to do something to him? And with the DM, when the DM knows you just messed up really, really bad, it's like, okay, backpedal out of this if you dare.
Failure is the most fun thing in D&D. I totally agree with that. Our next question comes from. Sorry, did you have something to say, Ian?
What? No.
Okay.
Quiet.
Our next question comes from Zayn. He said, "You guys are now more than 6 months in. What do the next 6 months look like for EZA?"
Reviews. lots of games to review.
Retros.
Couple retros, yeah.
Top 10 dopamines.
Top 10 coming back.
The Switch.
I really want Rampart, man.
Top 10 Ramparts.
Top 10
Our first meet and greet, December 2nd, Friday. It's from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Avalon Ballroom at the Hilton Anaheim, across from the Anaheim Convention Center. So that we've had a couple like quick and dirty meet and greets, but this will be our first official in advance warning on getting to Anaheim if you can and hanging out with us. And for our 1 year, we're gonna do. Don't have all the details, but we're gonna do something big for sure. It's gonna
be great.
Yeah.
Gonna be great. More narratives.
We might actually have to pay admission to that one. Not the meet and greet's free, but our 1 year might have a ticket attached to it.
Whoa!
I want to spend some money.
For the next 6 months, I want to get better at video editing and like contribute to that part of the process a little bit more frequently. I don't know to what extent that'll happen, but I want to do it a little bit more, and maybe that'll free up people to do other crazy new things that you haven't seen. So that could be fun. Okay, our next question comes from Divinity. It's another.
Here we go.
Yeah, you know what's in store. He says, "Hey guys, I'm putting my Q&A story on a small hiatus. Oh, never mind, I spoke too soon. So I made a little game for you to play this week instead. Pretend you're living in an alternate universe where Capcom owns all video game franchise. You're tasked to create one crossover game. As Capcom only recently employed you, you can only choose from a few hand-me-down franchises they don't really care about. The only words of advice you got were make it work or we'll fire you. To make this easy and quick, I wrote down 6 franchises you can choose from. You have to choose 2 franchises that will cross over, and you have to explain which elements you will take from both franchises. The options are Crazy Taxi, Watch Dogs, Knack, Dance Dance Revolution, Disgaea, Outlast, and Croc. The 7th option is exclusive to Ben Moore and can only be picked by him.
Wow.
Can you read it again?
Yeah,
Sorry,
I will read them one more
choose,
time.
though.
What's that?
We're allowed to choose different ones. He just gave us ones we could.
Yeah,
Examples.
so from this list of 7, you have to pick 2 and cross them over. I will read the list again. Crazy Taxi, Watch Dogs.
There you go. You're done right there.
Knack.
Yeah.
Dance Dance Revolution, Disgaea, Outlast, Croc.
And only you can pick Croc?
Only I can pick Croc.
So you got to
Disgaea,
pick
man.
up the hackers in the tag, and the hackers are coded so that the moment a hacker gets near, because you know when like hackers get hacked, they like can't get near a computer. That's like part of it. It's like you're not allowed to use a computer for a year if you go to prison or something for hacking. So it's like they have something near them that will actually like short circuit like computers if they're on it for more than a minute. And so you have to like get the person closer to the thing they have to hack in it and then drop them off. So basically Crazy Taxi, you got the Watch Dogs umbrella over it. And you can hack other taxis that are trying to knock you out at the same time.
I feel like that's pretty elaborate. I'm gonna pick Knack and Dance Dance Revolution.
Okay.
Like every time you do good, it's just Knack's voice saying, "Oh yeah,
Oh,
what
no.
a combo, dude! Drop the beat."
You got high combo. He's like, I'm getting chills.
Yeah, and like as your combo grows, Knack grows, and then when you fuck up the combo, he gets small again. This game is
Perfect.
I was going to say Knack and Disgaea, where Knack's now in that turn-based strategy universe with Laharo and everyone.
Brad. Okay, so he's in that world, and he's he calls everyone a weeb and makes fun of them for being anime.
And the pretties hate him and everything.
Actually, yeah, that makes me think that Outlast and Disgaea might be a pretty good mix. Like Disgaea feels like it feels like you could sort of mutate that to be really dark and creepy. You just have Prinnies looking at you in very unsettling ways.
Like Five Nights Freddy's looking kind of guys.
The one I want to do is Crazy Taxi and Dance Dance Revolution, where you play it with a dance pad, and it's a cab, and you're driving the cab, and you pick up a person and then go down, but the road is filled with obstructions, like other cars and stuff that's coming down the road at you, and you have to use the dance pad to avoid them, and you can speed up or slow down by stepping forward or back, and then you turn right and left by stepping on the left and right pads. And so you're speeding at crazy speeds down this road with like 4 lanes, and you're trying to avoid stuff all to a rhythm, to music. I think that'd be crazy. And you have to pick up and drop people off. What'd you say, Ben?
Brandon said Chris Wynn would play it, and
he would school us all.
He would master it.
Anyone else got anything? All right. Sorry, go ahead, Damiani.
I mean, Ian took my combination. The only thing I would have done differently is Crazy Taxi and DDR is it would just be the Offspring theme song the whole time, and it would be like a leaping agents. And if you mess up, the song just like screws up. And your cab slows down. It just like sounds like the worst thing ever. So you gotta like play it right, or else the song is played, because that song is so addicting. People just be like, "Yeah, I want to hear it. I want to hear it." You get so angry when you didn't do it right. It's literally just that.
Damiani, that's pretty good, man. All right. Next question comes from Liana. Oh, I love that name so much. Hi, allies. When society as a whole attains a certain technological level, I feel like real breakthroughs or serious advancements become automatically harder to come by. Most hardware and software R&D departments focus on making their creations faster, more powerful, using smaller components, better displays, and more efficient power solutions. Well, this is great in itself. Big disruptions in the way we interact with technology subsequently become a rarer sight in our day and age. But mainstream VR has arrived and is an awesome sight to behold, in my opinion. We've managed to get from Virtual Boy to actually usable, amazing tech, and it blew my mind the first time I put the PSVR on and started Robot Rescue. It instantly clicked and an epiphany of sorts in that moment. So to follow up on this breakthrough and the way we interact with games, I'd like to challenge the allies' imaginations moving forward. What are your pipe dreams or science fiction hopes for how we might interact with games in the future? Does it stop at VR, or do you have more inventive ideas? I'd love to hear what everyone thinks will be the next big disruptive thing in gaming.
I got a crazy one. And this is just because I love MMOs. I love open world. But I have a friend named Mike Buddy who was involved in the creation of GameTrailers.com, who is a very smart man, but a complete dope at the same time. And so every now and then he'll just be rambling on and on and on and on. You put him out of your mind. But every now and then he'll just have an idea that's just an absolute stroke of genius. And I remember, I think it was Burnout 3 came out, and there was an SSX game that came out at the same time. And this is the PS2 era. And I remember watching Mike Buddy play Burnout. And Mike Buddy and I were very, very into SSX at the time. We're driving around and we see a snowy hill up on the mountain. And he was like, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool if that was SSX?" In this game that was also made by EA, correct me if I'm wrong. Burnout EA? Yeah? No?
Burnout was not EA yet. It was Acclaim.
Okay. But basically
by Burnout 3 was EA Games.
I don't think so. Let me see.
Not
almost
super
positive.
Oh, it is EA Games. Yep. Okay. So they had gotten it by then.
So what if a company like EA, a big company like that, basically strangely merged a lot of their games. So if you owned 2 different games, you could access worlds that existed between those 2 games, so that I could actually drive my Burnout car over to that mountain and park it and then play SSX and then jump in, and or while I'm playing Burnout, it's kind of like, actually Blizzard is probably the company that's closest to this, because while I'm playing Hearthstone, I can chat with people that are playing Diablo and playing World of Warcraft and playing StarCraft. So that would be interesting to see the lines between similar games kind of blur, and you actually be able to experience content in both of them. It's a weird idea, and it's not something that's like, oh, that'll make them millions. But I remember when he said that, I was like, whoa, that would be crazy. That would definitely be some next level. No way we could do that this gen or the next gen or the next gen, but maybe in the future.
I'm surprised you can't just play Hearthstone in WoW yet. Just go to an inn or something.
Yeah.
Brandon, imagine the next Grand Theft Auto having a Westworld-like theme park, and you can just go into.
Oh yeah. I did. Yes.
The huge tech advancement I would like, speaking of Westworld, would be, imagine basically Westworld, but you could do a bunch of different settings, fantasy, sci-fi, whatever. And instead of you as yourself going into that setting, you lay down on a little bed and it's like transfer transit from dark matter or whatever, but like, or your consciousness is put into an avatar that is also a robot or a host or whatever, totally realistic human everything, but it's an android. And then you can see, feel, smell, taste, hear through this robot avatar, and it can be, whatever gender or whatever you want. But you can then be in the world with a bunch of other androids, and then that way there are stakes, and like you can control this thing and be in this crazy situation, but also, like if your character gets your arm chopped off, like that happens. If you get shot, you get shot, and then you have to go deal with it. And like, I think it'd be nuts. It'd be incredible.
And the stakes are basically money. It's just that like that was very expensive for you to buy this thing.
Yeah,
this robot. So some guy comes along and beats you up. Like,
yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah.
Ready Player One.
Yeah, is that what that is?
Partly, yeah.
We're close.
Kind of, yeah.
I'm all
That's
about
what I
this.
would want.
I'm just hoping that we have the technology to download our consciousnesses into robot bodies before I die.
I really want Milo to kind of become a reality. Like, I want to be able to use my voice and my body language to interact with something and then have it respond. Like, not just picking a dialogue choice, but like having it respond to how I'm saying things, I think would be pretty powerful.
Wow, Milo. Rest in peace, that thing.
Yeah.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
It was like the Connect. Talk to you.
Child.
Oh.
I am Milo.
I don't want specifically Milo. I want
Don't mind me, Ben.
It's gotta be Milo. Milo 2.0.
Milo or nothing, Ben. It's gotta be Milo. Nothing but Milos.
Hanging out with Milo, talking about Blastoise.
I think better AI is the next thing probably that we need.
AI is a weird problem because you can make better AI, but then, like we were talking about stealth games, it's like you could make AI that's really good at detecting you, but then the game becomes a pain in the butt because, well, how do I read this guy? How do I get around him? And so, yeah, there's that element of, well, it's not entirely a simulation. It's a game, and you have to be able to communicate with the player somehow. But definitely, I think other aspects of, when we're talking about living worlds and open worlds and stuff like that, it would be great if there were, more AI variation on people just walking around town and buying things and talking to each other, and it's not just like walking by people doing the same animations and dialogue over and over.
Yeah.
People that have needs and take to them however they need to.
I agree. I kind of want drivatars to be applied, like the idea of drivatars to be applied to everything. Like, I wish, like in Civ, for example, the more you played against the computer on whatever difficulty, the more like it'd be like, okay, he usually rushes this thing. I'm gonna try to counter that. Like, I think it'd be so cool. Just more adaptive AI. Really.
Yeah.
Our next question comes in from Andreas. He says, collector's editions, the joy and bane of my gaming life. I buy them far too often. How about you? Do you buy them for games that seem special, and which ones do you own, or are you immune to that temptation?
I can't remember the last one I bought.
I'm just running out of space.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I'm fairly immune to it, largely because I'm living in a shoebox more or less at this moment. So I wouldn't have anywhere to put any of the cool stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think for the right franchise, I definitely like a statue here and there. Always am down for a soundtrack, although I would prefer just to be able to buy the soundtrack instead of being tied to something else that I have to buy. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a very special occurrence for me. If it's like Batman, I bought all the collector's editions, or Resident Evil, I'm buying the collector's edition. That's about it. It's a special thing.
Yeah, I used to buy them when I was younger, but now I'm immune because I'm trying to get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
Not game stuff.
I don't know if I've ever bought one in my lifetime. I don't think I've ever had one.
Wow, not even for like Grand Theft Auto or anything?
I can't remember ever getting like an exclusive.
Dude, GTA 4 the lockbox. Oh my god. It was excellent.
Yeah, any kind of merchandise I was ever exposed to, I think, was just through GT. I think it came to game trailers, and it was like, hey,
nice.
anybody? Yeah, no, seriously, yeah. I freely admit, I was.
We had a table where we
a
just
pampered little rich boy.
You know, it's like anyone want this stuff? We just put it out.
Yeah. But especially now, I mean, like, I don't live in a shoebox, but like, I have limited shelf space in here, you know, with all of the stuff we have to have. So, not like Joker statues. Like, well, I guess that's just gonna live over there. I'd rather save that money, spend on another game.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like, I like to buy things digitally now because discs just clutter my house. And like, instead of spending $90 on, you know, a collector's edition or buying the season pass outright, it's a whole other game you could try.
I do have a fun fact for you guys, though, if you're interested. Did you know that if you don't buy the highest tier of collector's editions for Final Fantasy 15, you actually don't care about Final Fantasy? Like, you're not a fan.
Yeah.
I hate to break that news to you.
You officially can't call yourself a Final Fantasy fan. I don't know if you saw that in the fine print, but
yeah, you're just a poser.
Wait, man, you're getting the Noctis statue?
Yeah, man. I'm actually a fan. I actually care about that game.
So me and Ben are the only fans because Damiani's selling his.
Yeah.
But see, actually, so that's one of my problems with collector's editions. Honestly, is
$270.
wait.
I guess you don't care enough.
No, let me finish that. So investing in a Noctis statue. I haven't played Final Fantasy 15. I don't know how much I like Noctis. Why do I care right now before the game is out?
Well, I know exactly how much I like Noctis.
Not
exactly.
Man,
I'm trying to remember. I think it was maybe Fallout 3 or something like that, where like I didn't know Volt Boy or anything at the time, and then after I got into Fallout 3, it's like, oh, that's really cool. I'd like to have that Volt Boy thing. It's like, oh, but that's only for pre-orders. Like, well, great.
Right.
Yeah, it's a scam.
Wait, how's a collector's edition a scam?
For everything that he just said, they're asking you to lay out a bunch of money for something that you don't know if it's going to be good or not.
But yeah, you don't have to buy it though. That doesn't mean it's a scam.
Well, you don't have to get involved in a pyramid scheme.
I know you don't.
But it's still a scam.
By giving something that people would want is a scam?
Yep.
You don't know if you want it. That's what I'm saying.
I know I want it. It may not be good, but I want it.
Yeah, you might regret it later, though.
Could regret anything later.
That's deep, Brad.
Yeah, I think I'm more of a special case. Yes, I did pre-order the Final Fantasy 15 one, but I thought it would come with everything, including all like the DLC and stuff. So I can't justify paying that much money and not getting all that stuff. It's a little insane. So that is why I want to sell mine when it comes in. They don't get very many special editions that actually come with extra stuff. It's been more of a recent thing with the Zelda games. Like pretty much the standard version you get comes with the amiibo or whatever. Like Twilight Princess HD came with the Wolf Link amiibo, whatever. The Wind Waker one, like their special edition came with like a Ganondorf figure. Those have been like whatever to me. Those aren't the big ones, but Japan always gets the ridiculous collector's editions. And the Hyrule Warriors, both the 3DS and the Wii U one over there, the treasure boxes. Holy crap. Those were awesome. Like those, I think they cost as much as like the Final Fantasy 15 collector's edition, but like they came with like a replica, like an actual ocarina, like Link's scarf. Like they came with all this bonus stuff that I actually wanted, like collector's items that I found were cool, not just like a statue of something like that. And those are a little bit more extreme and hard to get, and more of like a once every like many years that type of stuff will come out. But very, very special occasion stuff like that, I feel like that's totally worth it.
Can I just say, all jokes aside, that I'm very surprised and disappointed that the collector's edition of 15 doesn't come with a season pass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for $270. Good God, man. Come on, throw me a bone here.
They gotta make that money back, Huber.
Jeez.
Our next question comes from Joetown. He says, "Hey, you beautiful dudes, I want to ask about community. The past few weeks have exposed me to the true face of this community. Do you have any idea what kind of environment you have all put together? I felt so incredibly loved and respected by the people of the EZ community. It is insane. I just want you all to know that you've created a truly wonderful little corner of the internet. I want to ask what your favorite part is."
Q&As are pretty good. Not necessarily meaning this Q&A specifically, but just answering questions and reading podcast producer credits and getting a name that's from such a far corner of the world. I have no idea in the world how to pronounce it. Like, that's awesome. It's just like, whoa. Like Gerzilla, like I think it's Strombaum. I don't know. I could be butchering that every time. Gerzilla's last name. But getting a question or an idea from a patron or somebody on Twitch or something that you would have never thought of ever on gaming or something going on in the world that you just didn't know and would not have known had it not be through the way we can contact our fans.
I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a way it's sort of what he's actually saying about the community itself, like that, because like we sort of put forth the ideas of love and respect and things like that people sort of try to emulate that and try to live that out. I think that's probably one of the coolest things, that people, don't want to fuel into the hatred and the fanboy wars and things like that. And of course, there's always going to be stuff like that because, the people that are not as deep into it or they're just stopping by. But that's sort of a value of our fans. It's pretty cool.
I agree with all that.
That was well said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also love recommendations both ways. Like when I recommend something to someone and they watch it or play it and love it, and then vice versa when somebody gives me something to watch.
Like when people recommend Ben anime?
Send all your anime recommendations to @BenMoore34 035.
He's sweating.
Guys, I've already watched all anime, so sorry, there's nothing more for you to recommend. I have seen every episode of everything, both dubbed and subbed, so suck it. This is a really superficial thing, but I am just honestly blown away at how good some people are at drawing things in our community.
Yeah.
Like every once in a while, I'll see something, I'm like, holy shit, that is actually amazing. Like, you're really good at what you do. And that like level of craft always really impresses me.
Hell yeah. A skill I will never have.
Yeah, me either, man.
Like a real skill. It's epic.
Yeah. Anything else? We moving on? We're moving on.
All that.
Next question comes from Justin Jazz. Man, that's a good name.
Yeah, great last name.
This is for Kyle. So Justin, this is very specific to Kyle. So we might come back to this. I'm sorry. We
read it and let's guess what Kyle would say.
Yes.
Okay. I like that. Hey Kyle, what would have to happen in the world for you to get your own show again? Something like Final Bossman or Bossman Home, but with easy allies. I know you're very busy with the podcast, YouTube gaming, and beating Wozniak, but hey, a man can dream. P.S. Here are some suggestions for your new show. As far as the name is concerned, Bosman Complex, Corporate Bosman. Please be excited. The Bosman Experience.
I love
Kyle would need less stress to do it.
Yeah, I think that Kyle's entire life would have had to be different and his genetic makeup different so that he could handle doing more than one thing at a time.
That's too harsh.
I'm just kidding. Kyle does a good job. Well, and he kind of has his own bit on the Keeley show.
It's great. Dear Bosman, everybody check it out.
Yeah.
I think, I think Kyle has hang-ups that none of us or not many of the other allies have in regards to how things are going to be perceived. There are a lot of fears that I have that our wonderful community is pretty much put to bed, most of them, before we started Easy Allies, about like, we're going to be asking people directly for money now. Like, we're actually going to be reaching out to them and be like, no, don't just watch, don't just share. pay. And that's a very scary thing to ask people to do. And Kyle's just been extremely reserved in making promises and putting himself out there. So it like the answer to that is money, but it just feels bad being like more money and then do it. It's like like that's how we feel when we say things like that. But it really is about how honestly going to set up our lives now that we do this. And it would have to be, we were just on a separate level, then we could rock and roll like we used to in the GT days. And it's a goal. It's where we want to get. Kyle wants to get there. Nothing would make Kyle happier than not having to work on YouTube live. I'm sure he loves his job, but just to do Easy Allies, I think would be a dream for all of us. So
I love that. It's like Kyle loves us
democratic
the most.
As I can answer that.
We're his favorite. Thank you, Brandon. That was eloquent. Our next question comes from Matt. He says, I think this went out to more Patreon backers than it was supposed to. That was my fault. I said it to everybody, but I switched it later. Anyway, his question, we're going to let you get through with this one. My question is, we can see your Patreon monthly goal, but I wonder how much you bring in from Twitch, YouTube, merch, and do those things count toward the studio goal?
No. But I don't want to give exact numbers. I actually don't have them off the top of my head, but I would say it's usually like
It's not like a huge amount.
10th, of our Patreon numbers. Or it's around there. 10 to 15% of what we make on Patreon, we make elsewhere on YouTube, Twitch, Spreadshirt, and possibly other places soon.
Selling drugs.
Selling
drugs.
Wow.
Easy Allies does not sell narcotics.
Yeah. Our next question comes from Shuck. I like this. It's a comment more than it is just a comment, not a question. He says, "Dear Mr. Damiani, you are very cool. P.S. So is Don."
Damn.
Thank you.
Nice.
Can't argue with
That's
that.
Can't argue
The
with that.
Italian, baby.
Yeah.
Our next question comes from Kevin. He says, "Hello, Uneasy Alliance." Uneasy Alliance. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair warning: this contains Bloodborne: The Old Hunters spoilers. So
Wait, what?
yeah. So this contains spoilers for The Old Hunters, the DLC for Bloodborne. So keep that in mind. We're still going to read his question. Video games hardly have any secrets these days. I'm not trying to generalize or exaggerate the following, so please forgive me if it sounds like I am. I've been replaying Bloodborne, and I remember hearing about how some players were upset that there was no way to turn into a beast, despite From Software saying nothing of the sort. However, they've built a reputation of hiding secrets in the game, so people began to speculate. It turns out there isn't a way to transform into a beast until playing the DLC. From what I've seen, some people expressed disappointment that they couldn't play with this feature until playing the expansion. Most other games in the market don't really hide anything from players anymore. Heck, even the latest Pokemon game showcased the rarest Pokemon on the front cover. Wasn't it more interesting to find Mewtwo in the game after hearing so little about it? So my question is, are game developers and publishers obligated to show off nearly everything about a game to avoid players hyping themselves up for some feature they may think be in the game, or perhaps even avoid players thinking that game makers are trying to hide something? Thank you so much, Tongue Surgery.
I don't think they're obligated at all, and I think that mystery is still kind of. I mean, we were playing PT last night, and like, it's been 2 years or something, and we still aren't totally positive how to make the dang phone ring. Like, games do it, Some people, Kojima and the From Software people do it maybe more than other people, but I love a good secret. I love when there's a thing that you find out way after the game is like out of the zeitgeist,
Some of the best secrets recently have been in Destiny, ironically. So
some cool stuff in there.
Yeah, I think there are a ton of secrets still out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the
Batman.
The Battlefield 1 headphone stuff. People are still trying to figure that out
Batman.
right now. Like, that's going on.
Yeah.
And as Ian said, like older games, some person just found out hidden messages or translated hidden messages in Paper Mario. I forget it was Thousand Year Door, the original one, but
I think it was the original.
There were hidden dev messages in there about you're not supposed to be here. Please contact Nintendo if you found this message. It's like, that's pretty hilarious. I was like, there's always secrets. It's just, I think they're getting, to be honest, I think they're harder to figure out because the developers are either trying to be a little bit more meta with it. Like, it's not so simple as digging through the code of the game. Or if it is for the older games, it requires like an extreme knowledge of video game engineering to actually figure it out. It's no longer just, hey, I can download the files and read through them. Like, you gotta mess with the code and stuff, and I think it just takes more work nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, where you see a lot of that is in like ARGs and stuff. I mean, the Overwatch ARG that they've been doing for Sombra is bananas.
Yeah, I just kind of want to play Sombra at this point. You know, like
BlizzCon.
I feel like the Sombra thing's been going on forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like, the Bloodborne thing, though, it's not so much as like a super secret or Easter egg. I think it was, is this thing there? Like, there were these hints that there was this other mechanic to the game that would be like a main part of the game, and it's like, is this there? And like, I remember when we were all starting to play it, like nobody was really sure, even when people beat it. It's like, is there something that you can do to trigger this? And all of these different theories and stuff.
That one struck me as like they just didn't have time to put it in, or they planned it for the DLC.
Yeah.
Like that one didn't seem like it was a secret. It just felt like it's not in there yet, or like we didn't realize how much people would want this, so we put it in for the DLC. Like, yeah.
But,
Bloodborne was just not a game I finished, and I was like, that's it. So that's like the problem sometimes with secrets, is that like even when they are hinted at, it's like building up hype and having people get upset. It's like, well, wanting to hype something, so you can't blame somebody for wanting to like tease a secret and kind of make you have you trying to find it. And as long as it's not like a mode or something that's clearly taking away from something that was advertised as something that should be in the game, and more just like, oh, it's a little bonus thing, I think it would be pretty extreme for me to get angry at a developer for being like, give us that information. It's like, come on,
One thing though, I was thinking of this week is, since I played some Shadow of the Colossus and Last Guardian review is coming up, really realizing that we don't know anything about that game at all, at this point. And so like, I feel like, especially after the way people reacted to, me just talking about the tutorial at E3 and playing the tutorial and what that was like and all this stuff that I didn't expect to see just in the first couple of minutes. And like, I have to restart this review with a 20-minute spoiler warning with nothing on the screen but the word spoiler warning. Because anything you see for that game after all this time is going to feel like, whoa, I didn't know that was in there. Because we've seen such a very small slice of it.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna. Never mind. Not gonna do that.
What's that?
I was gonna ask a clickbaity question about The Last Guardian, and I'm gonna stop myself.
Do it.
Clickbaity.
Yeah, that was the best way I could describe it. Anyway,
like something I could actually answer, or just a random.
Is that Warren Beatty's
no,
cousin?
just like dumb speculation. There's very little substance there. So our next question comes from Michael. He says, "Hello, allies. My question is, as a non-Zelda fan, what about Breath of the Wild will change my mind and draw me in? A quick background on my thoughts, history with Zelda. I love RPGs and third-person action games. However, I've always felt that Zelda games have some aspect of these games, but don't excel in any one area, usually leaving me unsatisfied. I feel as though they are incredibly polished and well-made, but I usually end up being extremely bored while playing them. I loved Okami because it took the Zelda formula and, in my opinion, improved it by adding a great combat system and the ability to jump, adding a more vertical element. I know it's not a popular opinion, but I also love the vibe and energy given off by Wind Waker, which is probably my favorite Zelda game. Knowing this and having played the game, will someone like me still want to buy and play Breath of the Wild? Thank you. You're the best in the biz."
You could jump in Breath of the Wild, so you'll love that.
Yeah.
The combat's better also. So those are two huge things.
About knowing more, I mean, do they like the open world type of RPG, like the Western RPG style? Because, I mean, that's kind of what Breath of the Wild is trying to do, at least. They're trying to give you this sandbox Hyrule, or like go figure out stuff to do, go see what you can find. It's basically like the antithesis of like the last 15 years of Zelda, or more than that, 18 years of Zelda, since Ocarina of Time introduced your little Navi fairy companion, and Nintendo decided hand-holding was a little bit more important to making their games popular than challenging the player to think a little bit more for themselves. So I mean, there's still definitely NPCs like the old man and stuff in the game that give you a little bit of direction, but I think the game is trying to push back a little bit harder in that sense. So if you found the 3D, especially it sounds like you maybe played some of the 3D Zeldas more than the older ones, you probably got a little bit bored because they're not particularly hard games at all. The puzzle stuff is, I would be honest, like timid at times. It's not very not too challenging, but I think in terms of exploration and actually direction of what to do, Breath of the Wild is trying to do something a little bit different with that. I don't think it's like a giant leap from what I've seen. It's not like going completely opposite direction, but that's probably why you should maybe give it a chance over the previous 3D Zeldas. Like just from the demos we played, feels different enough from previous Zeldas that they're not just bullshitting with the marketing so far and the messaging.
Since he said he liked the Wind Waker for the Vibe art style, I think you'll like this one more. It's more cartoony, more jolly looking, at least right now.
I agree. Something I've always kind of been annoyed by in Zelda games, just because I play all of them, is it's always like so obvious what you can and can't interact with. Like, okay, I can light these torches on fire and nothing else. I can hookshot at these points and not anywhere else. And I feel like Breath of the Wild, like the way that you can combine things and the amount of things you can interact with is just expanded like insanely. So you can't rely on that old school Zelda knowledge. Like, okay, I need to get a small key here and then put it here. Like it's not going to be A to B to C anymore. And that's super exciting to me.
Yeah, I think one of the most surprising things when they showed off Breath of the Wild was just being able to like climb up a random wall. Because it's like, wait, what? I can just do that? I can really go up? Like, how do you block off the world then? How do you it's like thinking like where how do you set your boundaries if I can just climb up any wall, and obviously like part of the answer is making a wall that you'd run out of stamina for, but it's still it's
enemies that you just take you out once you get up there.
Yeah. But it's super interesting to see how some of that's going to play out, because it still is very much, I think one of the things maybe like comparing it to like an RPG or an action game that like both of those types of games miss is, Zelda is very much about interacting with your environment and using tools, and that's where it really comes to life. And to see that in something that's much more open, it will be very interesting.
Making the switch.
Our next question comes from Steve. He says, will any allies be at BlizzCon? I will be there and was wondering if you guys think meeting fans is cool or if you would rather not. I really like the work you guys do and love a chance to say hi, but I don't want anyone to feel awkward. We're always down with meeting fans. Unfortunately, we will not be at BlizzCon. Maybe next year. Okay. Sorry. I wish I feel so bad.
I wish I could have a better answer. It's really not up to us.
Yeah, it's not up to us.
It's difficult because, it's like we put in the request and we got declined, and it's very much like a form answer. It's like somebody just like checked the boxes for approve or decline, and who knows why. And by the time they did that, then it sounds like all the tickets were sold out. So it's like, how do we plan this if you're going to decline us after we can't buy a ticket?
It's rough. BlizzCon is the best, and I wish we could be there, but like Blood said, it's totally out of our control. It's no one's fault. That being said, we are going to stream at least the BlizzCon opening ceremony. There will be a AZA reaction type thing happening on Twitch next weekend. So if you want to experience that with us, that opportunity will be available to you. More details coming soon.
That's not a pay-per-view thing, or that's crazy?
It is. I will pay to view.
Absolutely.
So they'll just be a camera on you and not actually stream.
Right. Yeah, it'll be exactly. Our next question is from Beaten Down Brian. I feel bad again. We have to do this. This is a repeat of last month's question since Kyle was away. So this is a Kyle question. Hey all, I hope I find you all happy and well. My question is kind of for Kyle specifically. Where did you come up with the idea of doing corrections on the podcast, and why did you decide to implement them in the GG Times / the Easy Allies podcast? Something I've always liked but never see other podcasts do. It is such a simple way of letting people know you are listening to them. I don't think we can give any specifics for that, unfortunately. Brian, that's a really good question.
I can. I mean, Kyle likes bets, and I think accountability was a big thing, and I think smugness is certainly a factor when it comes to corrections, because it would seem like so forthcoming. It's like, oh, we're correcting ourselves. Like we're admitting, like not only are we correcting ourselves from the previous week, we do this every time. So we say things on the podcast knowing we're probably going to mess this up. We're probably going to have to come back and let you know. From an editorial capacity, it's very similar to like magazines and stuff like that. But like, wouldn't you not want to just rub it in the face of somebody else that was on the podcast? Like, wouldn't Kyle just want to rub it in Bloodworth's face to be like, correction, Bloodworth? I actually looked that up in between podcasts and I found out. But you presented it in a way that you're like, you were just checking off the boxes here. We're dotting our I's, crossing our T's and dotting our I's here. I'm not being smug to Blood. I'm just, doing what needs to be done. Then you win, two birds with one stone. You get to be smug without being smug. I think that's corrections to me.
Oh man, poor Kyle.
Motivated by evil. Got it.
Our next question comes from Alex. He says, imagine this, Alex. You have the opportunity to bring one of the following games to the Nintendo Switch platform. Which do you bring? Mass Effect Andromeda, Final Fantasy 15, Red Dead Redemption 2, or Persona 5? Why did you make this choice?
Can you bring it to the Switch?
So you have to bring one of the following to the Switch.
Oh.
Mass Effect Andromeda, Final Fantasy 15, Red Dead 2.
Dude. 15, baby. Playing that road trip game on the road. Let's go.
Yeah.
Playing that in the backseat of the car, dude, with friggin' Brad Ellis.
Cuba, though.
Driving.
Playing Red Dead on horseback, dude.
That's pretty good, too. Riding the horse.
Ben.
Yes.
Persona 5 is still a turn-based system?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, then that's what I would most want to have. Because turn-based is just a lot easier to deal with when you're moving around.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
Persona would get my vote. I think that audience would just gobble that up too.
I think there's a decent chance that they'll all be on there anyway.
They're all giant games, so like that argument kind of goes for any of them. But I think turn-based is something I kind of like to have at my fingertips when I'm on the road or in a plane or that kind of thing.
What I mean, Ben, is the Switch audience, not the Persona audience. Persona audience is going to play that, yeah.
Disgusting. All right. My dream is to be playing Final Fantasy 15 on my Switch and then have that co-op DLC come out and then see someone playing and then link up with them and go on an adventure and be Gladiolus.
What about co-oping in the car as someone is driving?
Dude.
That's a single-player experience.
Hey, man. We're dreaming. We're dreaming big dreams.
Yeah, well, I mean, one thing, we don't know about Switch is Street Pass. And so it'd be really cool to see more developers take advantage of that in games that we're not used to it in, Be really cool to encourage people to go out there and, I mean, this is a dumb example, but, you trade hats with somebody in Red Dead or something, it's like
license plate frames in 15.
That's out of all the things you could pick, you would pick license plate frames?
Nintendo would.
Well said, I suppose. Our next question, unless anybody has anything else, comes from Silent Consonant. He says, okay, since it's October, let's talk Halloween cartoons. I was trying to keep my October full of Halloween-themed media and events. I like it. I found myself trying to think of all the amazing or terrible Halloween cartoons I watched as a kid. All I could remember were Simpsons, Treehouse of Horrors, Great Pumpkin, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and random episodes of other cartoons like Bugs Bunny, Dr. Jekyll, and Mr. Hyde. My question is, are there any Halloween-themed cartoons that stick out or you remember from childhood?
Brad Ellis, I know what you're going to say right now. Say it. Take us away.
Are you sure?
Brad Ellis, yep.
I was just going to say Scooby-Doo.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Okay. Scooby-Doo, especially the first season, is always great, man.
The Beetlejuice cartoon was a lot of fun.
Good pick, Ian. Good pick.
And the Ghostbusters cartoon was pretty good.
Great pick, too.
weirdly on the Blu-ray for Beetlejuice, there are 2 or 4 episodes of the cartoon just randomly on there.
Huh.
They seem totally random, like they just picked them out of a hat. But yeah.
My favorite Halloween cartoon has to be Berserk. It just gets me in the spirit, and I love it so much.
It's more of an All Hallows Eve show.
Yeah.
There's an original Mickey Mouse cartoon, I think called The Haunted House. I'm not sure.
The three Ghostbusters in it.
It was one of the very first. Yeah, it's a very, very old school black and white, probably produced in the 40s.
Oh, okay.
It's where, like, if you ever see anything Disney, you see dancing skeletons. It's what that's taken from. But actually, extremely disturbing. Like, there's actually some very stark imagery because it's done in black and white, and so there's actually like some very interesting stuff drawn, in the comparison between those two colors. It's just kind of cutesy, and Mickey's like, "Oh, I'm scared," and then all of a sudden, like, "Whoa, that ghost actually looks legitimately weird." It might just be where we live in a different era now, but
for Disney, also the Fantasia Bald Mountain,
sure,
is like insanely dark.
Yeah.
I
love it.
Fucking love Fantasia so much, man. Oh, I've never seen Fantasia 2000 though in my life. I've never seen it.
Is
it
it
really
good?
Okay.
Rhapsody in Blue is the best. The whole entire film is worth Rhapsody in Blue. It's
okay.
Yeah.
I just hold the original Fantasia in such high regard that it's like one of those things where I'm like, oh, I don't want this to disappoint me. Kind of.
And 2000 is kind of like, it kind of has the vibe of like, man, the original Fantasia is great. We're just kind of goofing around right now because we can, but like, man, you should really see the original Fantasia. And they do an encore of Sorcerer's Apprentice, so you get to see that a second time.
Our next question comes from Trung. He says, what is the worst villain that you can remember in video games? Name the game also so people who don't know will stay on track.
Resident Evil 6, Simmons.
Yeah, great one.
Worst of all time.
Worst meaning like most dastardly, or worst is it least effective?
No, just
least
terrible.
effective, most boring.
Oh.
I might have to pick Barthandelus from Final Fantasy.
What? No, don't hurt me then. Love Barthandelus.
Why is Barthandelus an amazing villain?
He's not amazing. He's all right. He's a novelty.
Is he all right, or do you just like his name and look?
I like his name and look and his fight song.
Okay.
I personally just don't like Handsome Jack at all.
Dude, good pick, Brad.
Yeah, that's coming.
Hey, Jones.
Yeah, I think we all knew that was coming.
Or Damiani or anyone else. What is the name of the final boss in Final Fantasy V that just like comes out of nowhere?
X-Death?
Is it X-Death? He's pretty terrible.
X-Death with 5. Yeah.
What about Necron, Ben?
Yeah.
Any of those early Final Fantasy games where you're just like, yes, I finally get to beat this guy, and then you beat him, and then he turns into like a potted plant, and you're like, what? And then like, it was me the whole time. You're like in the Milky Way somewhere, stars are flying around, and it's just this big tendril like mask. And you're like, all right, sure.
Space whales.
The most disappointing villain easily was Arkham Knight.
Oh,
I thought Rocksteady was going to have some balls to make like their own villain within this universe of the best villains, and he's completely throwaway. You know who it is before, like the reveal is not good. There's no mystery.
But they could have even made that obvious and cool. You know, like they could have done that obvious in a way that were like, if fans were like, I know who this is, but like they still could have made that scary on top of it. As far as I love that they don't even explain like how did he get the money, like how did he do any of this? It's a bummer. Really good game though.
Yep, absolutely.
Really, really bad part.
Love the game.
Their next question comes in from the Banana Forklift Killer. We're going to do 2 more questions, so this is the second to last one. Hey, allies, what are your favorite types of sandwiches? I like this. Nice and simple.
Turkey club. Love a good turkey club.
That's a great pick.
Some bacon. Yeah. Love it.
I have discovered later in life I love mustard more than I thought I would, just because I've had some mustards, man, on some sandwiches. I'm just like, this entire sandwich. There's one at it's like a melted It's like a melted cheese on like a pretzel bun at what's that sandwich place nearby? Mendocino Farms. That I'm just like it. Don't talk to me while I'm eating this thing, man. It's just like everything in life just comes together. It's so good.
I like a good roast beef sandwich.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking Philly cheesesteak sandwich.
Pastrami.
Pastrami dip.
I'll never
I
turn
haven't
down a
had
grilled
lunch yet.
cheese. Grilled cheese with tomato soup. I'll never turn that down.
See, Brandon, I'm glad you said that because for me, I have to have like tomato soup with grilled cheese. It's just not right separating the two.
The dip. Do you dip it, Ben?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Excellent.
Do you dip?
Like every like 4 bites, I'll dip.
It's time to make the dip.
Yeah.
So you're not like a hardcore dipper. You're like a casual dipper.
That's pretty casual dipping right there.
Casual dip.
Yeah, you're like a free to play dip.
I got like really burned out on classic sandwiches because I used to eat them every single day in Chicago. We'd go to Potbelly or whatever and eat sandwiches literally every day. So now I'm kind of burned out on them, but I do still like a good chicken breast sandwich or turkey sandwich. But I love turkey burgers, which aren't, I don't really think of them as sandwiches, but also I do like a good tuna fish sandwich or albacore sandwich when there's not dairy in it.
Yeah.
I like it when there is dairy in it.
You specifically like turkey burgers from Fat Burger.
Fat Burger, Burger Lounge, Pano Burger.
Pano.
Those are the three best.
Pano burger, dude.
One of these days, you're gonna come to a group stream and you're gonna have like a NASCAR suit on, but it's just gonna be burger places.
all turkey burger places.
Yeah, all turkey burger places. Yep.
That sounds like fun.
Our final question. I saw somebody in our live chat that's disappointed there are so many left. Yeah, I'm sorry. This happens every time. Our last question comes in from Greg. He says, in the spirit of Brandon discovering Pokemon and Huber discovering God Hand, you still need to continue, goddammit.
Yeah.
And what great game would you wish a fellow ally would play because you know they'd love it? My vote is for Ben to play Suikoden 1 and 2.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, let's all recommend a game. You know, we're not demanding anything here. We just think that they would enjoy it.
Oh man, it's hard.
I think Huber would genuinely enjoy Valkyria Chronicles. I really do. Thank you.
It's still sitting there, dude. It's on top of my queue list, but I haven't played for fun yet in a while.
Yeah, I'm not taunting you. I'm not taunting you. I just think you'd like it.
I can't believe
the next time I can crack open a game for fun, it is Valkyria Chronicles. Straight up.
Huber's always yelling at people play this, play that. I barely made it out of Warcraft for a second there, man. That got ugly.
Barely made it out alive, Jones.
Every week, like. I just remember this one time you were sitting on the couch, Huber, and I came over and I was like, Huber, guess what I played? And you were like, Legion? And I was like, what? No. It's not that.
I think Bloodworth would really enjoy Divinity Original Sin. I do. I think he'd love it.
Oh,
yeah. Original Sin 2 looks awesome.
I think Ian might like Zack and Wiki.
Yeah.
Brad.
Yeah. It was really good.
Well, check it out.
It's a Wii game.
Think that Ben would like Kentucky Route Zero and RimWorld. I don't know if you played KRZ at all, but
I played the first episode and I loved it. And RimWorld looks sick.
Yeah.
Dude, Ian. Yeah, RimWorld looks sick.
I would want Damiani to play Banner Saga.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yes.
I think Damiani would like it. It's got some like RPG aesthetic there, tactical.
I have to say, because of us, Kyle Bossman is playing Dragon Quest VII, so I feel like we have accomplished a great victory.
Yes. His first Dragon Quest game ever.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Will he finish?
No.
Yeah, he won't finish. It's all right, though. He's playing it. That's good enough.
Yep.
I kind of have to go back to my origins, and I would love to see what, I mean, probably Ben, but just about any of you would think of Legacy of the Ancients.
Dude, I would love it.
My first RPG on Commodore 64.
Damn.
If you haven't seen Game Trailer's Daniel Bloodworth first RPG video, check it out.
It's a really cool video.
It's 10 out of 10.
EA, guys. EA.
EA.
If I could go back in time to any point in history, I might go back to the time Daniel Bloodworth was reviewing F-Zero GX and just live that.
I know. I'd want to be in the
bask
room.
in it.
Yeah. I want to see the look on his face as he's like barreling down the tracks.
Just that look though. You know there's no smile. You know it's just blood. Like the whole time. You know,
Wow.
like,
This is a pretty good game.
yeah.
Wow.
I think there'd be more excitement.
All inside.
I think there's definitely this sense of relief, like when you get through one of the harder tracks on that. Like you actually made it, or just kind of screaming when somebody knocked you off the track or something.
Yeah.
Young Bloodworth with stars in his eyes.
Bloodworth.
I wasn't that young.
Did you take your GameCube memory card to an F-Zero arcade cabinet?
No, I actually never really got to play the arcade version.
We need to correct this.
Yeah.
Video coming soon.
Bloodworth. Track one down.
Also, I have well, actually, maybe the arcades are only Japanese as well. But yeah, I have a Japanese version of F-Zero GX.
Dude, nice.
Sick.
Did you watch? I don't know if it was this year or last year, but there was this guy during AGDQ or SGDQ. I don't remember which one. He did a speed run of F-Zero GX. It was an incredible speed run. Like,
yeah, the stuff people do in that game makes no sense. It's bizarre. Like they start flying above the track and like spiraling upwards and like what are you doing? How did you figure this out?
I recommend everyone seek that out. I think that's going to do it for us and our Q&A. Thank you, everybody who wrote in. If we didn't get to you this month, we will try to get to you next month. I'll have the submissions open for longer next month, and you'll be able to get in there sooner. But we appreciate you writing in and commenting. We hope you enjoyed our responses. And if you want more of us, please go to easyallies.com, where you'll find links to our Patreon, our Twitch, and our YouTube. And if you'd like to support us, this is a great way to do it on Patreon. You can ask questions.
Everyone here already does.
The people watching live, but there's
people
no
watching
archive.
live, but there's an archive.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.